You're listening to the Cryptid Crew Podcast. I'm your host, Mark Childers. Before we get started, if you've had an encounter or an experience or just something unexplained, click on our link tree in the description and share your encounter. Thank you for listening to the Cryptid Crew Podcast.
The scream went for 3-4 seconds, and I know that when you're out in the woods, if you encounter a predator or anything, the last thing that you want to do is run.
You knew you weren't alone. Something was there, and I can't explain that.
I've never in my life heard anything like what I heard that night.
On this episode of the Cryptid Crew Podcast, I would like to introduce host of Midwest Mythos Podcast, Bigfoot researcher and enthusiast, Ryley Watson. Ryley, thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, brother.
Yes, awesome to have you on. I'm glad we finally got together. I know we talked on the phone a little bit and communicated back and forth, and finally we're able to do an episode together. So I'm excited about that.
For real. Yeah, I'm sorry about having to do the whole reschedule thing. You know, sometimes, unfortunately, I got one of them jobs where I ain't got a guaranteed time off. Sometimes it's early day, sometimes it's a 13, 14-hour day.
Right.
But
yeah, well, that's life. It happens, but yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do, and I get that, no doubt about it. So, tell you what, let's just jump right into it if you don't mind, and tell us a little bit. Tell us a little bit about your podcast and what got you started doing it.
All right, so I'm the host of Midwest Mythos, and it pretty much is all forms of mythos I talk about on the show. So, like mythos, the whole reason I got the name of the podcast was because I am from the Midwest. My show does not focus on the Midwest, but you know, I like alliteration, and it's super easy for people to remember. So I was like, oh, all right, well, coming out of the Midwest, and I want to hear people's stories. That's all a mythos is stories. Doesn't matter from what. It's the broadest term you can get with stories. So with that being said, I have people come on that talk about their encounters with paranormal beings, Bigfoot, Dogman. I have people that study ancient history come on, talk about that kind of stuff. And sometimes I just have local legends. And they're not even paranormal. Like, I've had people come on and talk about, oh, we had this crazy person in our town or something like that. Or, hey, there used to be like a gold mine or something here. And so it's really just a place where people come tell their stories. Now, just because what I do in my other stuff and my friends in the field, I do tend to draw a lot more of the paranormal cryptid experiences towards my show. So I would say about 95% of it's that. But yeah, people from all walks of life.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's awesome to hear that and be diversified too, you know, where you can hear all kinds of different stories and people's opinions and aspects of different things. And it's neat to hear things that you know, sometimes don't even get to hear about or listen to, and you learn as well.
Right. Like when I was coming up with an idea for a show, I was like, all right, I could be like everybody else and, you know, have the interviews and have people on that people have had on before and just have it be a repeat of what people have already heard on other shows. Or my favorite thing to do in life is talk to people. Well, I should say listen. I'm a listener. I really like to listen to people. And the best place to do that is around a campfire. So that's why my logo, I got the whole campfire now. Because my goal is me and the person and or people that I'm talking to in an episode is we're basically sitting around a campfire just telling stories, because I don't know about you, but every time that I've sat around a fire with somebody, I hear stories that they've never told before from people. Hey, everybody seems more comfy around a campfire.
Right. And that's the best way to do it. You know, it's just casual talk and, you know, just like being on a phone talking to somebody or like you said, being by a campfire, you can just have a conversation and learn a lot.
Oh, yeah. It's the best way to meet people. That and a cup of coffee.
But yeah, let me ask you this, and I love the way I've listened to some of your podcasts, and I love the way that you do them, because just like you said, you come across as, hey, we're just talking, we're by a campfire, we're hanging out, and it's just straightforward,
Yeah, for me, it's so difficult to have like a list of notes and try to talk to, like, stay along, something like that. That's just not who I am. Even I've done a lot of public speaking ever since I was younger, and even that, my list, yeah, I don't write anything out. Everything's just bullet points and just off the top of the head. I don't know. I don't want to say authenticity, because somebody could type everything out and it still be authentic. But like for me, like that's how I'm authentic, just going off the top of the head and not try to stay controlled. Because
right,
when we go off track, that's where the magic happens. Same thing for Bigfoot. And when you get off track, that's where the magic happens.
Yes, no doubt. I have tried the script myself. It doesn't ever go to plan, and it just the conversation takes you all kinds of places. So yeah, well, tell the listeners and myself, you live in an area that's fairly, I'm gonna say squatchy. Use the term squatchy, but it's quite rural, and there's a lot of activity up that way, isn't it?
Yeah. So, well, there's a lot of activity as far as Sasquatch and stuff goes. There's some, but I'm from the Southwest Michigan, Northern Indiana area. I mean, I travel all over the country, hunting stuff. But where I'm from, we're right by like the Lake Michigan Triangle. Not too far away from the town I grew up in is a place called Sister Lake, where Dewey Lake is, and there was a massive Bigfoot sighting in the 60s that took national news. And, there's UFO activity like crazy, and there's a national park not too far away that's got stuff. So, I mean, it's a pretty big paranormal in general hot spot that a lot of people don't talk about because it's not the mountains.
Right. Tell us, what's one story that sticks out to you from that area?
Oh, I would have to say, honestly, would be, it's a little north from there. It's about an hour or two north. But the Manistee National Forest is one of the biggest, wildest hot spots on the entire, in the country, I'd have to say. And it every once in a while it gets a light shown on it. But there's a couple years back, I say a couple, being in the last 25, there was a man named Joe Barger, truck driver, and he was changing his tire and stuff. And he just kept on hearing stuff around him in the woods. He's on a path running through this national forest. He hops back he sees something, jumps back in his truck. Well, as he's getting off, this thing's chasing his truck and jumps on the side of it. It's this giant black werewolf looking thing. And he shoots it in the face and drops it. And as soon as he goes back to look at it, a bunch of black vans pull up to the thing and say, "You didn't see anything, get out of here." Are
you serious?
Yeah, that's one of the wildest things. And, I know plenty of people in my life that are up in that area. It's known for the Dogman. The very first Dogman sighting in the country back in the 17 or 1800s was in Michigan in the Manistee National Forest. But, I mean, I know plenty of people. I got a lot of friends that are hunters and stuff that go up there. They've all seen Sasquatch up in the area. It's just very dense, remote place.
Yeah, that I remember hearing about or seeing on a documentary, and it's been several years ago, probably over a decade. And it may have been on Monster Quest or either Monsters and Mysteries, maybe back in the day. But it was the guy was hunting, and I think the deer he had killed was on the back of his tailgate, and he had just about pulled off from the side of the road to leave. And something snatched the deer off. And I cannot remember. I don't believe it may have been Wisconsin, but I want to say it was in Michigan. But yeah, that was pretty scary. And he was, he was somebody that was an outdoorsman.
Oh yeah. Seeing any of these things he could be the biggest, baddest person, but you see Bigfoot, Dogman, something like that.
Right.
You're going to be terrified. I don't care who you are.
Right. Yeah, no doubt.
It just ain't natural.
No, that's, yeah, and I'm kind of on the Dogman and, or Wolfman or werewolf. That, my opinion of that is, I'm going to lean toward like the evil side.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's no, from the, I guess the witness accounts that I've heard of, or things you have read or seen over the years, it's just, almost like there's no good that comes out of that. What's your opinion of the Dogman?
Oh, I think they're 100% even. Now, I do think there's different types for sure. They go through there's the three categories of Dogman. There's the natural, there's the genetically modified, and then there's the demonic. But it doesn't matter unless you're talking about like Marco Polo and like St. Christopher, the cynocephaly and stuff like that. The genetically modified and the demonic are evil. There's no good to them at all.
Right.
And those are the full wolf being. Like, those ain't the dog head, man body kind of thing. My wife has seen one while driving down the road, and when she saw it, she said it was just she just felt it was evil and terrifying. Like, she ain't never experienced something that scary in her entire life.
Was it a nighttime sighting?
Yeah, it was standing in the middle. She thought it was a deer, and then she got up close, and it turned, and it had red eyes, and I ain't got my Dogman shirt on today. I got a Dogman shirt, and she said it kind of looks like that, but it was
right.
it was like translucent, like it was phasing out. And I should mention, my wife's not into any of this stuff. She's slowly getting into it because she's married to me, but zero interest in it. And the most I can get her is into his and Bigfoot.
Right.
So she had no idea what Dogman was, but she was describing it to me, and she was like, "Is this what do you call this?" I was like, "Dogman." She's like, "That's what it felt like." And I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah, so she got to see one firsthand. That's really interesting. Did it run or did it just disappear, or?
If I remember, I think she said it just went into the woods.
Right.
But it was like instantaneous, like it did disappear.
Yeah.
It was on a highway, like a real well-traveled highway. But there's the highway runs through a couple state parks and stuff like that, and then some Native American reservation and stuff like that as well.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah. And that seems like you hear a lot of that too with the Native Indian folklore or things happening, on reservations as well. Especially with Bigfoot or the hairy man, I guess that's what some of them used to call them, or skook them or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. And like, my kind of hypothesis on it, as far as like why stuff happens around like reservation or like just tribal sites and stuff like that, is because most of the time, like, they're on lockdown unless you're in the tribe, and even a lot of time, people in the tribe are not allowed to enter these lands. So it's just, they're sanctuaries, so there's not going to be any people in them. So if you're close to the border, maybe something wandered a little farther than it should have, and I believe that's why a lot of people are seeing these things nowadays, at least.
Yes. Yeah.
Around those sites.
Right. Yeah. That's really interesting. Yeah. I just don't, like I said, I think it's evil. I lean towards that. But you mentioned hybrid. I actually had a witness show me a picture. A friend of his shot. It was the strangest, kind of disturbing, really, picture of looked like part wolf and part goat almost, because there was more than one. It was running on two legs, and he was hunting, and I cannot remember what he was out there hunting. I don't know if it was turkey or deer or what, but there was no doubt in my mind the picture was not edited or photoshopped or anything. And you could see on the guy's face his expression, like he was in shock. And what had happened was he heard him coming through some brush or saw him running down maybe the side of a hill towards him and shot one and shot it in the chest. but it was more down towards the sternum. And they were on 2 legs running, and the other 4 scattered, and that one did not. But it turned out it either got posted and brought down immediately, and there were people at his door not long after that getting each device that he had placed that, photo on and removed it. And that's,
wow.
Yeah.
That's a common, uncommon story, if that makes sense. It's not a very common thing that happens, but when it happens, that's the common denominator in all of them. Someone comes up and it gets taken down instantly. Somebody come and get the device. There was a big thing up in Michigan about that in the 80s, 70s or 80s, I believe. Some dude shot one and put it in the fridge, and the kid took it to school, took the pictures, and next thing you know, somebody comes on the door, give me the body, give me the pictures. But that's
crazy.
A goat dog.
Yeah, the feet were hoofed, and do not remember the hands. And it was probably 4 feet tall, if I had to guess. It's hard to tell.
Oh, so they were tiny.
Yeah, it was small. It was 4 to 5 feet at the most, I would say. So it was really strange, and it was, the picture's really disturbing. But yeah, I don't see any reason for the particular person that told me this to have any kind of, to be embellishing or anything. You can tell when somebody tells you something, and I know you know that as well. You talk to somebody, you can see the emotion in their face and their body language,
Yeah, I've never heard anything like that. That's
the first time I had seen something like that as well. I mean, it was just really, really strange. Do you think the government knows about cryptids? I'm going to use cryptids as a general term, Bigfoot, these hybrids, or Dogman, or whatever. What do you think about that?
Oh, sorry if you can hear my daughter screaming.
No, that's fine. Hey,
she found her voice. But here, let me turn this. But they definitely know 110%. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I've done a lot of research down south. I've gone places near national parks. And then even just in my personal time, like not doing anything, in national parks, and I've talked to people and stuff like that, and they're like, I'm like, why is this section shut down? Oh, because, the bears are out. But the reality of it is, hey, no, somebody died and went missing, or they found their body completely mutilated, and then a bear ain't going to string somebody up in a tree like that. There ain't no big cats out there, supposedly. But even a big cat like that's not going to get somebody out there. And I've got one thing is, I got a good buddy. He's my buddy Harley Owens from Bigfoot Reports and Data. He was telling me one time, one of his locations that he went to, pretty regular location. Well, he took some pictures and posted the pictures, and then next thing you know, all the surrounding parks and everything around the areas where he took some pictures completely shut down. Nothing you can do about it. Like, you can't go there. So they know this stuff is there.
Right. Yeah. So did he post the pictures, or did he just happen to take pictures in that area of something?
Oh, he posted them. If you go to his pages like that, I know you know him, but he's got that picture. He always posted that Dogman that you can kind of see,
right,
poking through the tree. Right after he posted that picture, and this was like 2 years ago now, he posted that picture, and then they shut down some of the sections, like parks within 30 to 50 miles. Oh, I mean, when you're talking just throughout there, and it could be a coincidence. I don't believe in coincidences when it comes to cryptids, though. So, I mean, even if they're not in the immediate vicinity, because these parks weren't in the immediate vicinity or close to where he was, within walking distance, because it's the mountains and stuff like that. But these cryptids, especially these big ones like Sasquatch, Dogman, they can cover a lot of ground really quick. So if they know they're in the vicinity and, they're getting close to where people are at, you got to keep the people safe. I believe that's the only reason they haven't exposed these cryptids, because they would shut down all the national parks.
It would change so much, I believe. Not only national parks, I think it would do something, and I've heard other people say this plenty of times, but change the logging industry, and that's my opinion, just like yours. 100%, I believe they know something exists, but just don't want to, make it public. So, what do you think Bigfoot is?
All right. Well, I used to think it was flesh and blood and stuff like that, and I still think there could be a few of them that are. Mainly out in like the Pacific Northwest and stuff like that, Alaska, Canada. I think those ones are more flesh and blood than anything. But when you're talking about Appalachian Bigfoot, that's something else. I'm speaking from experience. When I had my encounters, that wasn't no animal. That was something that was intelligent, and that was something that was old. One thing I kept on saying to my buddies when I was out there, I was like, man, like there's some old evil out here, some old evil. And when it's pitch dark and you're getting rushed from all around you, you hear these things screaming and yelling.
Yeah.
All around you.
Sorry to interrupt you, but can you give us some detail about that encounter, like where it happened at and when and the circumstances?
Yeah, I can. For a while we weren't talking about it because we got a documentary coming out, but a couple people spilled the beans, so now we all kind of got the okay to talk about it. So,
okay, awesome. I'd love to hear this.
All right, so back in April of this year, went down to Tennessee with CW Operations, which is led by Drewski from the Cryptid Warfare Podcast. Harley Owens and from Bigfoot Reports and Data, we went to one of his locations, Prometheus Lens and Where the Weird Ones Are. We all went down there. Where I was like, we're gonna have a camping trip, just have a good time. Well, it's out in the middle of nowhere. I'm talking out in the middle of nowhere, in the mountains, hollers, all that good stuff.
Right.
Well, second I get there, it all kind of felt weird and stuff like that. It was weird. The first night I heard some screams. A couple of people heard screams right by. It sounded like an owl mimic, but it wasn't an owl. It sounded like a 600-pound owl. But, the second night we had a bunch of stuff happen. And I was down in this kill valley. We're surrounded. We're all down there. But we decided to break up into groups. And, we had some wild stuff happened as a group, but as we split into twos, we went down by this creek, and there was four of us at this point, because we did not, the two groups, we didn't even want to do that. We wanted to get back because we were feeling all. I felt like I was going to die. My boy Juan, he felt like he was going to die. We just had super bad anxiety, primal fear. It was wild. Later find out it was probably infrasound or something like that. But as we're sitting in pitch darkness, after hearing whoops and all that kind of stuff going on, and seeing some weird stuff in a thermal, we're dark, we're laying low, and all of a sudden I hear running through the creek. It's like 10, 15 feet away behind us. Keep in mind, I can't even see my hand in front of my face. Then on the ridge line right next to us, a couple seconds go by, and the creek right in front of us. In the woods to our side, these things are surrounding us. And I was freaking out. I'm like, turn the lights on. I got my pistol, and everybody gets their guns up, and we're just like, what's going on? Don't see nothing. Not a thing. But we can hear them. And as we're walking back, we can hear them in the ridge lines. We got a lady, she's on a thermal. She's seeing stuff, following us and stuff like that. And the whole time, all I'm sitting there thinking, I'm going to die. I'm praying, but I'm going to die. Whatever these are does not want me here. Because that whole entire trip, yes, a bunch of other people had stuff happen to them, but everybody that went on it can agree I was their target for the weekend. And there's so much more that happened too, but we'd be here for an hour and a half talking about all that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So you felt, did you feel sick, or did it feel just like the energy was not good?
Both.
Both. Okay. Yeah.
It was both. Like it was a super primal fear. I was feeling sick. It was probably from the anxiety and stuff,
right.
But I just like I was starting to get disoriented and all this kind of stuff feeling. And it was just everything in me was telling me I had to get out of there right then and there.
That's insane. I guess they were trying to intimidate you, or you guys, or escort you out there, or let you know, hey, you're not welcome here.
I
or
think
all the above.
Probably all the above, and I really think if they had the authority to, they would have attacked us. But the very first thing I did when I got there, and this was the day before this happened, was my boy Jersky, he had me take a anointing oil and make a perimeter around our camp, and I was just praying. And I was just praying that God protect us this weekend. If he wants us to see these things, let it happen. But, protect us. They don't have the authority to lay a hand on us. They can get close, but they can't do anything to us, kind of thing. And I really believe that the prayer is what made them angry, that they couldn't enter our camp or anything like that. Because we had them get as close as I put the oil, but they never got in, and they couldn't mess with us,
Right.
Besides intimidating us.
Right. Yeah, there's no doubt prayer works, and our God's bigger than anything else. So
yes. Amen.
No doubt on that. Let me ask you this. Did you guys do any kind of vocalizations or wood knocks to get these responses, or was this something that just came about?
So the first day, like a couple hours after we got there, it wasn't even nighttime or anything like that. We let Harley rip one off because we thought, we're out here doing it, we're having fun. Like, we weren't expecting nothing to happen, honestly. So we're like, all right, Harley, rip out a call, and we are just all joking around, having fun. Because if you're a Bigfoot researcher, chances are you love doing those. I like ripping out calls out in the woods and stuff like that. I know nothing's going to happen, but most of the time. But yeah, no, the calls, we didn't do any tree knocks or anything like that, and we weren't being quiet. We wanted things to know that we were there. It's a bunch of big dudes out there. A lot of them. I mean, we're not being quiet. We're snapping trees, everything around. Like, everything knows we're in the area. We weren't quiet at camp. We were playing. I brought my guitar down, and we were all playing guitar and stuff like that, singing. So
you're just acting natural, just like somebody was camping or hiking or whatever. And that seems like, to me, that type of behavior draws the attention.
Right. I agree 110%. Actually, something funny. The first night when we heard those owls, the owl, I was getting ready to play my guitar. I stayed back at base camp, and I was just going to play my guitar to draw them in. But Senior, he was like, boy, don't you dare touch that guitar right now. I was like, well, I want to draw them in. He's like, no, you don't. And, I didn't know why. This is a man who has had encounters with a couple different types of cryptids throughout his life. And I was just like, all right, I'll just for him. I'm not going to play it. But why? What's the big deal about these things? I've heard a couple horror stories, but most of the time, not. So I put my guitar away, and not 5 minutes later is when we heard the owl and then the mimic owl. And he's like, that's why you don't play. You hear how close these things are? They're 100, 150 yards away. Like, our camp's here. Here's the ridge line. They're right here on the ridge line. So, I mean, right. Honestly, if we were to have like a deer shining light or something like that and shine that ridge line, we probably would have saw eye shine or something looking back down at us.
Yeah. I've had a few witnesses mention that they have seen something on a ridge line, walking or running or whatever. And that's makes sense, because if they're a predator, and I believe they're intelligent, have some intelligence to them, of course, they're going to get the aspect of, hey, I can see, just like you would, or we would if we were hunting or something. So,
right. Yeah. These things are very, very intelligent. I mean, I've seen across the Midwest, Michigan, Indiana, Tennessee, all those. I've seen plenty of different types of tree structures, and I know they're not man-made, just the way that they're done. But these things are intelligent enough to know the need for a structure and then how to create them.
Right. Right. Let me ask you this, then. I'm glad you brought that up. What do you think about the tree structures, and what are they?
I think sometimes they're markers, but I think a lot of the time it's where they're laying down.
Like a bedding area.
Yeah.
Area. Yeah.
And I have witnessed progress of them being made within 24 hours, like the start to almost finish.
Oh, seriously?
Like just walking back out, see it, come back for like 5 hours, go back out, there's new green foliage and stuff like that on there. Come back, next thing you know, this thing's pretty big. And it's full, and I can. There'll be pictures out there one day that show it. Unfortunately, I'm not allowed to share pictures of this stuff right now because this was from an expedition that's still under wraps and stuff like that. But I can talk about it. I just can't show anything from it yet.
Yeah, well, it had to be something with thumbs, that had thumbs.
Oh yeah,
that type of stuff. Yeah.
And I think I stumbled upon something. They make glue to hold these things together.
What do you think the materials are that they use to do that with? Is it mud or like a adobe? You know how centuries ago people made adobe huts and stuff like that with sand and mud? Or
I think it's like tree sap and mud, and just mixed together on like the smaller stuff that can't be bent in on each other. Well, just to help it here and there.
Right.
I've seen it a few times. Me and Harley saw it. It was interesting. I ain't never seen them. I've looked at plenty of pictures of tree structures, and like I said, I've seen quite a few too, but I had never seen that.
Right. Yeah, that's really interesting.
Until I was out in Appalachia, and then all of a sudden I seen that. I was like, what is that?
That's crazy. That's pretty wild.
I think there's a lot we don't know about these creatures, man. I truly believe that we are the top of the barrel.
Sure. There's no experts on this topic. It's almost like, we're learning something. I mean, it seems like you hear something new quite frequently, so. Well, let me ask you this. What is your favorite cryptid? Is it, if it is Bigfoot, then what is it besides Bigfoot?
It switches all the time. Honestly, with this question, because everybody always says, and I do like Bigfoot. Bigfoot was a big one for me. I'm going to have to say the local legends, man. The melonheads. I really like the melonhead folklore.
I've heard of the melonheads, but I don't know much about the history behind it.
It depends where you're at, honestly. So my favorite is the melonheads of Holland and Saugatuck, Michigan. And they got a lot of origin stories to them. And I think there is some truth to it, but I think a lot of it's just local legends. Because it was a thing that was used to keep us out the woods at night. It was one of those things just to scare somebody or, make fun of somebody, something like that. And, it's something unique to the area I grew up in. So it's just one of my favorites. It's got a funny story. It's got a sad story. It's got a scary story to it. But, the root of all of them is the same. And there is some truth. A lot of it, I will say, is just joking and, people embellish a story over time, and it's one of those things.
Something else, yeah.
Not quite the Hodag situation, but kind of similar in some aspects. But there is some unexplained things in the area and sightings. So it's a fun one for people to look into. It's a nice little weekend deep dive kind of thing. Not too much on it, but just enough to keep you busy for a couple hours.
Yeah. I'll have to check that out. Let me ask you this, Ryley. What would you tell a skeptic?
All right. As far as that goes, honestly, guys, get out there. Don't be a keyboard warrior. Don't do none of that stuff. Get out there, because honestly, like I was a believer, but I still had that part of skepticism and stuff like that too, and with a lot of these things. But it's not until you get out there, you put boots on ground, you put the time into it. If you do all that and you're a skeptic, okay, fine. You can be a skeptic. You put in the work to be a skeptic. But if you're just sitting there listening to stuff, watching TV, and, arguing in the comment sections, but you've never, been out past your backyard, don't, so get out there. I mean, obviously some of us don't have the ability to understand that, but if you are, get out there, get boots on the ground. And with that being said, if you're going out into the woods and you plan on camping or do anything, even just walking through the woods like State Forest, something like that, if you're going off trail, 4 is the magic number. 3 during the day, 4, I would say even 5 at night. And, know where all your stuff's at. My boy Drewski, he always tells me, tell people, know where your local police station is, know the number, know how far away you are from the hospital, stuff like that. Because even though you might be a skeptic, you might be proved wrong and you might need to know all this kind of stuff.
Absolutely. You got to be prepared when you get out there.
Yes, be safe. That's the number one thing. Be safe, have fun.
Ryley, towards the end of each episode, I do a rapid-fire Q&A. I'll ask you 3 questions, and it's the first thing that pops up in your head, and it's nothing serious. It's just boom, 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 and then we'll see what your answers are. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Number 1, favorite Bigfoot TV show, past or present?
Finding Bigfoot.
Very good. That's probably one of mine as well. All right. Have you ever met any of the cast?
Yeah, I've sat down and I talked to Cliff at Small Town Monster Fest a couple years ago.
Okay, cool. Oh,
good dude.
Yeah, that's awesome. Small Town Monsters is probably one of my favorite production companies, or I don't know if you want to call them production companies, but they are so talented.
They're awesome. They are some. I've sat down. I've talked to a lot of them. I've had a couple of them on the podcast, but going to their event, I've talked to a lot. They're all great people. Seth's awesome. Alex is awesome. Eli's awesome. Seth's wife, she's a lovely lady. Yeah, they're all awesome. And here's the trick: don't treat them like celebrities. Treat them like a normal person, like you and me talking right here, right now.
Right. Yeah. They seem really down to earth, and I like the way they present their material,
Oh, I think it's the best in the game right now, personally.
I agree with you 100%. 100%. All right. What is your favorite name for Bigfoot other than Bigfoot?
Wood Booger.
Yeah, I'm going to have to say mine is probably Ridgewalker.
Ooh, that's a good one, too.
Favorite college football team?
Notre Dame.
Or are you an NFL guy? Notre Dame?
Oh, yeah. I used to work at Notre Dame, and it was the only team that had come in growing up.
I gotcha. Yeah, there's a lot of history with that college.
If you're into paranormal stuff, too, they don't like to talk about it, but there's a lot of stuff on campus.
Is it really?
That you find out from working there. Oh, yeah.
Well, that's pretty neat.
Oh, yeah. They got their fair share of ghost stories.
That would be pretty cool to check out, because that campus is pretty old. I don't know when that university was built, but it's no doubt in the 1800s at some point. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think mid 1800s, I believe.
Really? Yeah.
And it's got a lot of the original structure still there. They just build on top of everything. They don't tear nothing down. They just add on to it.
Add on, yeah. That's sometimes with paranormal stuff, that's usually when you hear of, activity or whatever. So, but that's a whole another subject we could talk about probably for a while.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, tell the listeners and myself where they can find you.
All right. Well, you can find me anywhere. You can type in Midwest Mythos. If you're looking for me on the YouTube, though, you got to type in Midwest Mythos Podcast. But I am on every podcast platform, as far as I know. If you use some very obscure one that maybe 2 people have heard of, it might not be on there. But I'm pretty sure I'm on everything. As far as social media-wise goes, I do got a TikTok. I hardly use it, but it's Midwest Mythos. And my Instagram, that's the best place. That's where I'm the most active. And if you want to get a hold of me, that's the best place to get me besides my email that you can find in the link tree that's in the bio of the Instagram. But yeah, that's pretty much. I had a Facebook, and I was putting too much work into it for what was coming out of it, so I kind of just dropped it. But Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, that's where I make all my posts and stuff like that.
Gotcha. I will put a link in the description for the listeners to follow you and check out and see what you got coming up in the future. And I've really enjoyed talking with you, and I appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. This has been a blast.
Yes, I've really enjoyed it. And for the listeners, please like, share, and subscribe. It helps the channel out. And if you've had an encounter or something strange, click on our link tree and share your encounter. Thank you for listening, and God bless.